What is going on, guys? This is EK1 here, and we're back with another Destiny 2 build video. In today's video, we're going to be showing you a Solar 3.0 Hunter build with crazy survivability and also great damage output. As you can see in the clip behind, you don't die. This is a legend lost sector, and we are literally just surviving everyone shooting at us. Now, if you do find this video helpful and want to support the channel, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave me a comment in the comment section below. You can also send thanks now in the comment section if you want to help support the channel financially. You don't need to, but we are very, very much appreciative of any support that you have. With that being said, let's get into today's video. So to start with, we are of course running Blade Barrage. Now, Blade Barrage vault into the air and unleash a volley of solar charged explosive knives. This has a 7.5 minute cooldown, but we are not going to pay any attention to that because we're going to be getting it back a lot faster. We are of course then going to be pairing that up with the Gambler's Dodge. So dodge to perform a deft tumble, avoiding enemies attacks. Dodging near enemies fully recharges your melee ability. Very important for this build. We are going to want our melee there all the time to utilize all of the mods and the aspects and fragments that we're going to put on here. It's going to be basically around that melee energy and keeping that melee going as much as we can. Now, alongside that, we are also going to be running the knife trick. So this is the solar melee. Throw a fan of flaming knives that scorch targets on hit. Now, we're going to utilize this continually in the build and in our gameplay. So that's all we're going to be doing, basically throwing those knives out as much as we can. So now, in terms of aspect, the first one we're going to be running is Knock 'em Down. So basically your solar supers are enhanced. Golden Gun Deadshot has an increased duration. Golden Gun Marksman has increased damage resistance. But for us, the Blade Barrage launches more projectiles. And then while Radiant, final blows with your equipped throwing knife fully refund your melee energy. So basically, two things we're going to utilize here, of course, is the more projectiles on the Blade Barrage, and we'll go into that a little bit later because that will come in with our exotic that we're running. And also the Radiant, you know, we get our throwing knife fully refunded. So basically, when we throw it, we kill people, we become Radiant, and then we're going to get that back. So the next aspect is open, and I choose to go with On Your Mark. So precision final blows grant you and nearby allies increased weapon handling and final reload speed for a short duration, and it stacks 3 times. Activating your class ability immediately grants maximum stacks of On Your Mark. Now, you can go ahead and use the other one, which is Gunpowder Gamble. And what that does is basically when you defeat targets with abilities, solar debuffs or solar weapons, it charges up an improvised solar explosive. Basically, you get a grenade that causes an ignition. So you can use that if you like, but I choose the other one just because of the fragment slots. This only gives you 1 fragment slot, and the other one gives you 3 fragment slots. So it depends really. Both of them work very well. In the footage, actually in the background here, I'm using the gunpowder one. However, you can use either when it comes to this. So for our first fragment, we're going to be running Ember of Ashes. Now, I'm aware from my last build video that people don't have this unlocked, and I think Bungie only gave it to a certain amount of people at the beginning to see how we got on. But basically, you apply more scorch stacks to targets. If you are going to run Gunpowder Gamble, then take this one off. So don't use this fragment. This is just an added bonus because we are going to be scorching targets. And then we're going to go for Ember of Solace. So Radiant and Restoration effects applied to you have an increased duration. We're going to want to be, you know, Restoration is going to be procced a lot. Radiance is going to be procced a lot as well. So we are going to be wanting to keep that as long as possible. So again, we get our throwing knives back and we get all those amazing buffs. Now, next up is Ember of Singeing. Now, your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. So again, we're utilizing that scorch, and we scorch more targets with ashes on. So we are utilizing that, and we're going to get our class ability to recharge even faster when we are getting those targets scorched. We're going to get our class ability back quick as well from just doing wells on the ground, but we'll go back into that in just a second when we show you the build breakdown. Now, the fourth fragment is Ember of Searing. So, defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. This also gives you 10 recovery as well. So, basically, this build is evolving around scorching targets, getting that melee back as quick as possible and doing a lot of damage while also having survivability. So, definitely, you're going to want to have on Ember of Searing. Now, the last one we're going to go for is Ember of Torches. Now, powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. Very important to stay radiant, have that restoration, and really stack those buffs. And it's also going to work for your allies nearby as well. If they've got it on, it will also work for you. So it's definitely a must-have on most builds now. So now for the build breakdown. What you're going to want to do with this build is stack into as much mobility as possible. Try and get this to 100 if you can, and also 100 resilience. The reason for the mobility is it basically reduces the cooldown of your class ability. So it means that we want to get that class ability back faster just in case we don't get that dodge or we don't get that hit with the throwing knives. The mobility is going to proc us again, so we'll be all right getting it back. Resilience obviously is important. You get 40% damage reduction. This is a must-have, definitely in this season at least. I don't know if they'll change this in the future. Another good one is, of course, the strength one, if you can get that as high as possible. But I would personally focus mobility and resilience. Try and get both of them to 100. As you can see, I don't, because I did just try and get this build together quickly so I can show you guys it working, but I will farm for better options and higher tier gear. So for weapons, it doesn't really matter what you're using. I'm just using my highest level weapons. You can adapt this as much as you like, but I do like having a Callus mini tool with Unrelenting and Incandescent on it. Now, Incandescent is a really good perk. It's a very good to have on a weapon. It's defeating a target spreads Scorch to those nearby. So more powerful combatants and opposing guardians cause Scorch in larger radiuses. So basically, that's going to give Scorch out. So just keep shooting with that. If you need to use your weapon, we'll be using the throwing knives a lot, but the weapon wise, yeah, have Incandescent on there. And Unrelenting, rapidly defeating targets, triggers health regeneration. So again, if you want to get your health regen a little bit more, you can start killing targets as well with this weapon. For heavy, I just have Tractor Cannon on because I was trying to get the Catalyst up, but I would probably go for Storm Chaser. That's very good now. Rapid hit firing line. As long as you've got firing line on this as a team, it's doing a lot of damage currently. This is the new linear fusion rifle from the dungeon. But again, you can put on whatever you want. You can put any exotic on there if you want. Xeno, Galley, whatever you want to put on, just put on as the heavy slot. So going on to the helmet, we're going to go for an arc helmet, and we're going for a minor mobility mod. Again, if you've got high mobility already, you can put resilience or strength or something else on there. And then 2 lots of hands-on. Now, hands-on is gain bonus super energy on melee kills. We're definitely going to be stacking supers. We're going to be stacking, getting our super back super fast. And also, we're going to be using melees a lot. And then I've also got Seeking Wells. This is just kind of a lazy well mod where the elemental wells you create will move across the ground towards nearby players. So basically, they're going to come towards you so you don't have to run over them. And then we're going to be utilizing these solar wells a lot in this build. Now for our gauntlets, we are using Shards of Galanor, and this is to help get that super back. Hits and kills with Blade Barrage will return super energy after the super ends. Now I do want to mention here a couple of other options you've got. You do have the option of the Star Eater scales to make your super more powerful, because you are getting regen from the hands-on. But, you know, Shards of Galanor, you can get half of your super back when you proc it, if you proc it right. There's also the helmet, Warmhusk Crown. If you want to use that, dodging gives a small health and shield bump. So if you want a bit more survivability, you could use this one as well. I don't have a decent one, so I'm not using that currently. I do prefer to use the Shards of Galanor. Now, the Shards of Galanor are going to have to be Void. And we're going to go minor mobility again. Again, you can switch this out to what you like. And we're going to double stack Focusing Strike. So grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a melee attack. We're going to be using melee attacks constantly. So you want as much of that as you can, which then leads us on to our final mod, which is Melee Wellmaker. Powered melee combatant final blows spawn elemental wells matching your subclass energy type. So it's going to bring solar wells down every time we get melee kills. So basically you can double stack this if you want onto another piece, but I do go for a different option. I have seen people with 2 lots of this on, but for me personally, 1 is more than enough. The chest piece, we've gone for solar and of course mobility on there. We have armor of the dying star, so basically reduces incoming solar and void damage. And then I've got solar resistance on top of that. And then also for the final mod on here is Font of Might. So picking up an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type. So the solar 3.0, the solar wells that we're dropping, a temporary bonus to weapon damage of that same elemental type. So that's going to boost up our weapon, our Callus mini tool. We're going to do a lot more damage with that. You can also obviously have a solar heavy on there as well, so it's going to boost up that for boss kills or for however you want to run it. So cataclysmic, galley, as I say, and stuff like that. Now for the boots, again, solar, mobility, and then we've got innovation, so reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. And then we've got recuperation, replenishes health each time you pick up an orb of power. So we're getting grenade back and a little bit of health every time we pick up orbs. And then we've got Well of Life. So picking up a solar elemental well grants increased regeneration for a short period of time. So basically picking up those solar elemental wells, we're going to be getting health back. You know, our health regen is going to proc up. We're already going to be getting health regen anyway, but it is definitely going to proc a little bit more for us. So it's definitely something I would put on. If you don't want to put this on, you can put another melee well maker on, as I mentioned earlier. Now for the Hunter Cloak, we've gone solar again. A lot of solar in this build. We've gone for Bomber, so reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Again, it's just something you can put on. You could put on Molten Overload, you know, overload grenades for solar, because we are using a solar build. And then we're going for Classy Restoration. Now, if you've got this unlocked, this is a must-have pretty much on every single build. Activating your solar class abilities grant you Restoration. And Restoration, believe me, this is so broken right now. On a Titan, you can literally stand there with Laurel's on and not die. You can literally go away and leave it overnight and you would not die. This is very, very good. Apart from the Hunter not having the ability to automatically proc the class abilities, we will be dodging a lot. We will have that dodge going and we'll be getting that dodge back super fast. So we'll always have this restoration here. Now for the mod, we're going Bountiful Wells. Elemental well mods that cause you to spawn elemental wells can now stack, spawning additional wells for each additional copy of the mod you have equipped. So for this, what you would want to do is have 2 melee well makers on or something like that. It basically stacks up and it will spawn additional wells. So for me, I'm getting 2 wells, but if you did have 2 lots of melee well maker, you would get 3 wells every time you kill somebody with your throwing knife. So Bountiful Wells definitely a must-have. So that is it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comment section below if you put this build together and how OP you think this is. For a Hunter, I believe the survivability is absolutely incredible and the damage output is great as well. He's no Titan, but hey, Hunter Solar 3.0 has got a good build, good survivability, easy end game content for now. Of course, we haven't tried this in GMs because they're not open yet, but leave me a comment, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video.